straight from the pages of NZV8 magazine. As you're watching this, Andy Booth is at the Nürburgring in an Audi V8 doing the 24-hour race. So you've got me, Ewen Gilmour, and this is NZV8 TV. Brought to you by Smith's Group, suppliers of leading automotive brands. Newlong, Maguire's, Spies Hecker, House of Colour, and GT Radials, superior performance, affordable price. On today's show, we've got Graeme Metcalfes' C6 Corvette GT1 race car. And we're at Pukekohe for the production muscle cars in a genuine XC Cobra and a 69 Chev Nova makes feature car. And from when muscle cars ruled, we've got some footage from the 1970 American Trans Am Championships. GT1, what does that mean? That means unlimited modifications. If you can think of it, put it in a car, get it on the racetrack and drive it, you're allowed to do it. We showed you this last week with Nick Chester's GT1 V8 Commodore supercar. This week, Grant Brenner's turn in a C6 Corvette Trans Am. Newlong, take us to Taupo and the GT1s.
It's a Corvette. It's based on an American Corvette, the C6. And of course it runs a Kevlar carbon fibre body with space frame chassis, so it's fairly modified. The engine itself is a one-off, as is the gearbox. We've manufactured that in our own shop along with partners around the world. For a number of years, of course, obviously we've been building engines for a long time, but we wanted to try something a little different. I had a background in kart racing and liked the idea of being able to pull some RPMs. A lot of your single-seater stuff has a wider RPM range to work in, so we developed a short block for the car. We had it cast in America. It's not as short as the drag race block that's commonly used up there, or was with the SB2 stuff, but we had that cast. We used a short stroke crank. Pistons were made to our own design. All the machining, however, was all done in Brennan Racing at our own shop, so we had total control over the clearances and what we were getting. We spent a lot of time on the cylinder heads, which originally were based on the SB2 NASCAR cylinder head. It's not currently used anymore, but it's still very state-of-the-art. In the States, they use what's called a wide 5 Hewlin gearbox. So we took that as the basis of the box, manufactured our own parts, made it sequential operated, changed the internal oiling of the system, and ended up with what we've got. It's very much experimental at this stage. We've had a little bit of grief from time to time through the season, but we currently still sit second. So we're pleased with the results of not only the gearbox, but the whole car. The shocks are state-of-the-art. I mean, you have a couple of choices. You have the Ohlins or the Sachs. A lot of the V8 supercars use the Sachs. It's probably 50-50. We like the Ohlins. We've got good support out of America with the Ohlins. The car runs data logging, so we can use the software that's available with the Ohlins back to back with that of our Motec. The car is also fitted with a lot of sensors, and everything is logged, so we have two means of logging that data. One is telemetry back to the transporter, or we can do a download and keep that data recorded. So we have a look at what the car's doing, made alterations. We represent BBS in New Zealand, so they went the extra mile with making some special centres for us that were lighter. But no, normally these cars would run, say, a 16-inch wheel. We opted for an 18-inch wheel. I think the car's got a lot of potential. What happened is we built the car reasonably quick. We weren't going to run it for another year, but our old car sold prior, so we had to get in and get this thing going. So it's been trying to race it, test it, and develop it all in one. We think it's got a lot more to come. Developed a little bit of a name for being fussy and attention to detail, and the business was formed over 30 years ago, and it's just grown and grown from there.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. These guys, you know that they love their V8s. They love their V8s. We love their V8s. I just think they need to think more about the colour that they're going to paint them. Recently, we were down at the Yankee Haulers Club Day at Meremere. we spotted a beautiful 1969 Chev Nova. We were checking it out when we were approached by the owner, Graeme Metcalfes. He said to us, when is my car going to be a feature car? Graeme Metcalfes, this is your feature car.
Well, a friend of mine a few years ago used to drag race a Nova, a 69, and I quite liked his car then, and sort of had a bit of a passion towards him since then. And when this one came up on racingjunk.com, my partner and I looked at each other and thought, yeah, that's a cool car, we've got to have that. It has run 1050s in the States, but running with a 468 big block in it, turbo 400 and 12-bolt rear end. 613 horsepower it puts out, 10.2 compression, so it runs on 95 pump gas. In the quarter mile, I think it runs around about 126 miles an hour. Oh, this one here is probably the best one I've ever owned, but I've owned a couple of Falcons, 3 Ford Populars, and a Sea Cab, which I started off with. Oh, my first car was, believe it or not, a Mark II Zephyr. This one has been a strip car. It's like spent most of its life on the drag strip in the States, but I sort of want to use it for drag racing and street use. Get a big, get some good usage out of it. The good thing about it is being a 69 was the last year of all the big blocks. They didn't make a big block after 69 for these cars, and this one here happens to be a genuine 396 SS factory 4-speed originally, which I hope to put it back to a 4-speed one day. It's something I've waited for a long time. I had a nice Falcon. I was hoping that might have made it into a magazine, but it never did. And having the editor come up to me and approach me about having this car put on there has made my day, and the owner and the previous owner's day as well. So I just thought I'd bring the Nova here for the first time and give it a squirt and see how she goes. Well, actually, to be honest with you, I'm stoked with how it ran. Running a 1098 on its first go out, I'm really, really happy. I'm definitely going to be at Father's Day drags, definitely. Because you've got good traction on that day. There's some real fast cars in New Zealand, and I'd like to be in the show. It's a genuine SS Nova 396. We came out with factory with a 4-speed in it. It's just small, significant things like the badges on the sides, on here. This here on the 69 where the park lights are the only ones that have park lights that small. Oh, there's just not very many Novas in New Zealand. I've always liked Novas. I had a mate that used to race one, and yeah, and it's actually, to be honest with you, the first GM I've ever owned. I've actually owned Fords before this, but I thought since my initial start with GM, I should actually get one.
Well, lucky his name wasn't Steve, otherwise he could have ended up in a Skoda. Well, congratulations, Graeme. You've made feature car. Everybody else, you're just going to have to look out for it in a future NZV8 magazine. In the late 70s, the king of the mountain at Bathurst was the Ford XC Cobra. 30 years later, these things are worth a mint. We happened to catch up with one at Pukekohe during the production muscle car meet.
It is a 1978 Ford Falcon Cobra, one of the genuine, number 108, a genuine of a 400 that were built. It's got a 366 in it now, which is a 351 Cleveland stroked, putting out just over 500 horsepower, which gets it around the track pretty well. It's a factory 4-speed top loader, 9-inch diff. The rims are Arrow rims, and we've got Pirellis on the rear and Eagles on the front. It has to be a road tyre, yeah, it has to be a dot-rated road tyre, so no slicks or semi-slicks or anything like that. Makes them move around quite a bit on the track, but it also keeps the racing tight, so you don't, even when we've got a lot of power in these cars, they still, it keeps the slower guys in there, because we really can't use it as much. It's got all the same stickers that Moffat ran at Bathurst, sort of a tribute to that, and make it look good on the track. Oh, my sister's got this XE here. I've got a Trans Am Mustang, a Pre-65 Mustang, a Roush truck that I work out of, luckily. So a few little bits and pieces. A Torino, and that hasn't been built up yet. It's all about the noise and the speed. That does keep you young, I suppose, coming out here. You know, I'm sweating like anything now from just coming in from a race, but you know, it gets harder every year that goes past, but it's all good fun. Yeah, the class we run in is production muscle cars, so they have to run factory brakes. So the brakes have to be the same size, you have to run on road tyres, has to have the interior in it, The heater and everything has to work. All the seats are in it. You know, so you can, if you want, you can drive the car to the track and then go racing. Well, I bought it as a road car and converted it into a race car probably about 10 or 12 years ago. We've won the Production Muscle Car Championship 3 years in a row. Last year we came second, and this year we were fighting for the lead, but we've had a few gearbox issues and a few little things that haven't gone our way today, so we're looking like second, maybe possibly third.
This thing's so original, it's got all of the original sponsor stickers on it. Camel filters. Who remembers camel filters?